What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and continue learning about Operation Yellow Ribbon. This is a story I had absolutely no idea about. This is an incredible story. This is a story about Canada and Canadians stepping up and helping the United States in one of our dearest times of need during the 9/11 terrorist attacks here in America, and Canada's role in helping us. This is, in part one, I started watching this documentary explaining what Operation Yellow Ribbon was and what Canada did for the United States, and I have been absolutely blown away by this story. Blown away. I feel like more Americans need to hear this story. I feel like this needs more attention, so I'm really glad to be learning about this and highlighting this. This is amazing, genuinely. So we're picking up here in part two with this documentary. The events of 9/11 have happened. They are happening. There's chaos and confusion. And now every airplane that was destined for the United States to land in America has been ordered to land. And don't land in the United States. You have to land somewhere else. Figure it out, and it's a really, really difficult situation. And Canada has stepped up, specifically Gander, Newfoundland, and also other airports and areas on the eastern coast of Canada. But really, we're focusing on this story of Gander, Newfoundland, and their airport and their community. They have stepped up. They're letting, I think 175 or more airplanes have now successfully landed in this little airport. And they are figuring out how to make this happen, how to get everyone landed and safe, and also starting to think about how they're going to take care of now thousands of people that have randomly, and totally unpredictably been forced to emergency land here. And we're kind of picking up right here. That's the situation. They're handling it amazingly, but there's a lot more to do. And there's a lot of uncertainty and fear in the air as well. Literally 9/11 is happening right now. This is an amazing story, and I'm quite excited to pick up and see what happens next.
Canada is basically becoming a gigantic runway for every plane and aircraft that was destined.
Yes. Oh my God! Look at this. Literally airplanes stacked side to side, back to back, packed. I've never seen this.
In Gander, no one is allowed off the planes until customs and security are in place.
Right. Again, to set the stage, nobody knows if these planes have terrorists on them, if these planes have explosives on them. No one knows what's going on yet. So, there's a degree of, bravery, serious degree of bravery going on here with the people of Gander, opening their airport to all this and being okay, we're gonna let everyone land and we're gonna deal with this situation and help.
Run by airport officials and officers from the regional headquarters of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Mounties.
Yeah.
They
Mounties.
must process each passenger, plane by plane, until authorities are certain there are no terrorists on board.
Yeah.
Among the trapped passengers is New York State Police Officer George Vitale, who is returning from Ireland, where he was doing advanced security for New York Governor George Pataki.
Oh.
We were on this plane for 19 hours, sat on the tarmac, not really knowing what was going on outside, but knowing that it was pretty horrific.
Yeah, again, this is just, it's insane. It's so cool that they're interviewing people, straight up, who experienced this, who were in Gander, experiencing this, and their point of view of learning about what's happening in New York and other parts of America, where planes are being flown into buildings and the Pentagon, and they're learning about it from the airplane sitting there for hours, just being told what's going on. What? No, this isn't happening. This doesn't happen. That was the feeling.
The number of casualties will be more than any of us can bear, ultimately. and I don't think we want to speculate on the number of casualties. The effort now has to be to save as many people as possible.
Yeah. And to their credit, like at the time, it was legendary how many firefighters and other service members showed up to the wreckage to search for people, to search for anyone who might have survived. It was really, that was quite inspiring at the time and still is.
There is another New York couple on the Gander tarmac whose connection to the events back home couldn't be more personal.
I just wanted to get off the plane and see what was happening, because I was hoping my son wasn't working that day.
Perfect example, like their son works at one of the World Trade Centers, it sounds like, and then you hear that this has happened. Can you imagine something scarier than that? It's hard.
Dennis and Hannah O'Rourke have been visiting relatives in Ireland. When they learn what has happened, they fear for their 44-year-old son, Kevin O'Rourke,
Oh, he's a
firefighter.
He's a
from Rescue 2
firefighter
in Brooklyn.
He's a firefighter.
Yes, it goes.
So he's, yeah, I mean, firefighters were, God, this is also, watching this documentary is also just bringing me back to 9/11 and all the amazing heroes of that day, and learning about all these Canadian heroes too. It's something. It's something. This is an experience. Yeah, firefighters like running up the buildings, running up the Twin Towers as they were on fire, about to collapse, running up, trying to grab people, trying to get them out. Absolutely mind-boggling. Mind-boggling what humans are capable of. It's inspiring.
Goes back many years to when I was a kid. The apartment building I lived in, over the years I was there, it ended up having 3 different fires. So I was carried out as a child by a firefighter. So I have fond memory, I have memories to go back to, all of a sudden, in the smoke, this big guy comes up, grabs me, and carries me down the stairs.
Huh. Wow.
When he was going for his fire test, and he said, "Mom, you pray for me." And I said, "Yeah, Kevin, yeah." He said, "Pray for me to pass." I said, "Yeah, Kevin." So he missed it by, 1 or 2 points. And he came home that night and he looked at me. He says, "You didn't pray for me. I didn't pass." I says, "No, Kevin, I prayed for you. You failed." So he says, "Mom, that's all I want. That's my calling, is to be a fireman."
Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
While the desperate rescue operation continues in New York, Gander begins the process of absorbing all those passengers. So many that in a matter of hours, they will nearly double the local population.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. They are, yeah. So this is the other thing that was being set up in part 1. Gander now has thousands of people arriving, and they are trying to, it looks like they're trying to get food. There was toothpaste, there was, toilet paper, drink, beds, a place for everyone to stay. This is incredible. The effort going on here, not just by the airport, which was amazing, but now just by the community of Gander. This is amazing.
Now, Gander is a town of barely 10,000 people. There was over 6,000 of us.
Wow.
Now, if you extrapolate the numbers, New York City is 8 million people, so what's that? 6 million people showing up on your door saying, "Okay, we're here. Do something."
The painstaking process of registering and removing each passenger continues through the night.
Finally, we're free. We're on the ground after more than 24 hours. We have no idea where we're going, but we're going.
I mean, it's awesome to highlight this as well, because I think for a lot of Americans like myself, we were so focused and hyper-fixated on, the fact that America had just been literally attacked domestically, like on our own soil, and thousands of people had died. That I didn't focus on the emergency plane landings and sorting that out, and all of these amazing problem solving and tasks and acts of goodwill going on to make that possible, to help in making that part possible, getting all the planes out of the air and taking care of those people. So I love that is what this story is focused on. Something that doesn't get enough attention, I think.
It is not until noon on Wednesday, September 12th, when the last passengers are finally allowed into the Gander terminal.
Wow.
They're exhausted and confused, most not knowing where in the world they have landed.
That's funny to me somehow. You are here. They don't even know where the heck they are. Maybe that's funny to me because I know Americans are really bad at geography and even Canadian geography. And you could have told these people there, like, you're in Gander, Newfoundland. And the Americans would be like, huh? Like, what? Where am I? They'd be like, that doesn't mean anything to me, which is funny to me to think about. So yeah, they got a map here of Canada. You are here in Canada. That's good.
We're going to bus you into Gander, which is just a few minutes away. We're not sure when the FAA is going to open up the United States to travel again. The Department of Transportation in Canada has all air traffic in Canada shut down right now.
Wow.
When you see the footage of what has happened, you'll appreciate why things have been done the way they are.
Everything shut down.
The only vehicles available to transport the great volume of passengers from the airport are school buses, and the local bus drivers happen to be on strike.
Oh.
We were told at the time we got a crisis on our hands, and the strike never came into effect whatsoever. All the bus drivers came back, every one, and we all came back and we did our job.
This is awesome. Like, this is awesome. This story, like, for such a dark time, what a like shining light this is. Like a breath of fresh air to hear about this, to learn about this. These kind of acts of goodwill. They got the bus driver, the local buses, school buses coming down to help move people. The bus drivers on strike are like, all right, we'll do what we gotta do. We'll help. That's the right thing to do. Amazing.
They laid down their picket signs, they went and took their buses and they drove it, and for the next 4 or 5 days just helped out wherever they could.
Wow.
That's what we're made of. That's the type of people we are. Even though those bus drivers had a dispute with their employer, they had no dispute with the people that landed here.
Wow.
We'll do the best we can to look after this. If there's anything you need, anything at all, I mean anything, just ask, and you will be taken care of, bottom line, okay?
Dang.
Make it as comfortable as possible.
Some of these people are probably like, holy crap, I gotta come back here. I gotta come back to Gander, Newfoundland. This is great. I mean, these people are amazing.
As passengers arrive in town, the locals rush to meet them with home-cooked meals. Among them is lifelong Gander resident Beulah Cooper, an organizer at the Canadian Legion Hall.
Home-cooked meals.
7 o'clock that night, I got a phone call from the Legion asking me to do a tray of sandwiches. They have them down there by 8 o'clock. I didn't know what was going on. Brought down a tray of sandwiches and I found out about the planes.
Wow.
Your heart went out to each and every one of them. Because the first thing you do is put yourself in their shoes and know how you would feel.
Wow.
Currently there are thousands.
Amazing displays of empathy as well. I did a long series a while ago on like Ice Storm, Canadian Ice Storm, where it talked a lot about Canadians' empathy and goodwill and just like dropping everything to help each other. And that clearly extends to just Canadians' attitude towards humanity, honestly. Like, these people are just like, yeah, I'll get up at 8 a.m. and make sandwiches. Like, I can imagine being in their situation. I'd want a sandwich. But honestly, that's incredible.
Of people in Gander and surrounding area that need your help. Please come to their assistance, lend a hand, lend a meal, offer your services wherever possible.
The whole community.
Passengers are not allowed to remove their check bags from the plane, so the clothes on their backs and in their carry-ons may be all they'll have for days. Ganderites respond, donating clothing and opening their shops free of charge.
Show your boxes to the camera.
This is so wholesome. It's so wholesome. It's great.
The passengers are also without their prescriptions until owners of the 2 local pharmacies working day and night and across language barriers can fill them all, again, at no cost.
Wow.
They were able to go into the stores and just take items off the shelves. I'm not even sure they had to pay for them. The people were so accommodating in Gander.
That's like, I mean, I would have understood if they just let all the planes land and were like, okay, people, like, figure it out. Figure out where you got to stay. But, like, the people of Gander, the Canadians here, didn't have to go this far. Like, this is amazing. Like, that's amazing. And then they could have been like, okay, I'll give you this auditorium to stay in. There you go. You're welcome. And that wasn't even, it's like, no, here's food, here's medicine, have our clothing off our back, have a bed, have some toothpaste. That's amazing. Amazing.
This is our cook. Our chef. Our chef. Oh, your chef.
And they just have like a uplifting spirit to them where they're like trying to smile, trying to stay positive, which is what you really need in a situation like this.
Even with all the kitchens firing around town, the local citizens cannot possibly feed 7,000 people.
Yeah.
The Red Cross and Salvation Army send additional food and supplies, fueled by donations from throughout Newfoundland.
Wow.
I can't thank everybody enough. It's been brilliant. Everyone seems to have pulled together, you know. It's amazing where all the stuff has come from.
The community centers also acts as a ice rink, and we've stored all the food on the ice surface, and we became known as the largest walk-in refrigerator in the country.
Another
no way
problem. Gander has only 500 hotel beds for almost 7,000 unexpected guests.
Okay.
Local schools, churches, and Legion halls must be converted into makeshift dormitories filled with sleeping bags, blankets, and cots.
So that, yeah, they're like just opening every building up, every public building, every resource available to take care of these people. Like, these people might as well have been the citizens of Gander. Like, they were just welcomed with such open arms.
It is only as the passengers are settled around Gander that they see for the first time images of the devastation back home.
Yeah.
There's the plane. You can't miss that.
Some 30 hours after all of this had happened, we finally saw the pictures on television, and we just stood there, you know, not saying a word and just watching those pictures over and over and over.
I think.
Yeah. Crazy. Like, I kind of remember, like, watching some of this footage. Like, you can watch it over and over again and be like, that just doesn't seem possible. That just doesn't seem real. Like, that can't happen. That's how, like, mind-blowing this was. Certainly to Americans, and I'm sure to people watching around the world. It was eye-opening. Like, shocking. Truly shock. And I think they're in shock as well.
A lot were in shock. You could see that look in their faces of total lost. We don't know what's happening. They're in a place called Gander. Their country has been attacked. They're talking thousands of people that may have perished. What's happening? What is happening here?
I apologize to the families of...
Again, the empathy, the ability for these Ganderites, I think they called them, people from Gander, Ganderites, Canadians, to, like, put themselves in our shoes and be like, imagine what they're feeling. That's really nice to hear.
People that are lost right now. We have lots of families seeking information about who was in the World Trade Center. Did they get out? Didn't they get out? Are we able to recover them? Aren't we able to recover them? And we don't know the answers to all those questions yet.
Yep. It was just a lot of missing people for a long time. Families just, like, not knowing. Like, basically waiting for their body to be identified or not. And probably not holding on to much hope at that point either. Yeah, sad, tragic. Beyond tragic.
Hannah and Dennis O'Rourke are staying at the Canadian Legion Hall in Gander. By now, they've learned that their son Kevin had been one of the early responders at the World Trade Center and that he is among the missing.
I seen on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because if you were an early responder to the trade centers, that means you were probably going inside while they were on fire. You probably went inside before they collapsed, to either try to put out fire or to help people get out. And like no one knew that the trade centers were going to literally fall down. So yeah, he was an early responder, which is like one of the bravest, most heroic things you can imagine, but one of the most dangerous things you could have done after the crashes happened.
TV, what happened to the Twin Towers. And I didn't want to alarm her, but I knew that when they collapsed, I figured nobody would get out of that thing.
No.
But we prayed. I came here and prayed, hoped that he went so high.
It is reality, as far as in the city of New York, that you are going to lose some of your fellow brothers, battling the Red Devil. Just luck of the draw, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says, some are called for nurses, doctors, priests. My calling is to help people. And that's my calling to be a fireman, helping other people and saving people's lives.
Man, this story, like, man, of this couple stuck in Gander, their son is a firefighter in New York. This is so sad.
This is an effort involving people that came in on half a day's notice. Some very anxious people, some very worried people, but yet some very thankful people for the hospitality that only the people of Gander and surrounding area can show.
These strangers are just taking us into their home. And it was not just taking us into their home. It was, here's the bathroom, here's fresh towels, here's the refrigerator, there's plenty of food. And then what they said is, now you know where the house is. The door is open.
I gotta tell you this.
I know, it's amazing. So they're like, come to my home, whatever you need. Basically, whatever you need. Like, that's just like next level. Like, what? I almost wanted to say like, oh, the real 5-star treatment, but it's like, it is. But jokes aside, like, I think I can only make a joke about it because I can't even comprehend this level of humanitarianism of like, hey, I don't know you, but if you need anything, if you need, my door's open. That's awesome.
The experience with your town has just been beyond belief. We were buying some clothes earlier for the extra day stay, and the shopping clerk actually invited us to her house to take a shower. So it's been like
that might have been an insult. Might not have been a compliment. Or she's like, if you need to shower, sir, you can use my shower. Kind of funny to think about.
ever since we've been here.
And the people are real nice, I can't believe it, Everybody put their arms around you, and it's always food coming in all the time.
Wow.
There's not one person that we have come across who hasn't offered to help us in some way. It's overwhelming.
They didn't think of themselves at all at any time. So they'd be in that kitchen and working all day and work the night. It didn't faze them. So they were there for you.
Wow. Wow.
Other than her daily walk to church, Hannah O'Rourke refuses to leave the Legion Hall.
I'm sure these people, they're not all Americans in Gander. This was people internationally, including Americans, who were going to fly to the U.S., but had to be diverted. So this is like almost people from around the world. They must have been mind blown landing in Gander, Newfoundland, and being welcome to this. Just mind blown. Like, this is amazing.
Beulah Cooper, the Legion Hall organizer, can't help but notice her pain.
My son is a fireman, but I know this is not New York. And your heart really went out to them. And I tried to get them to come up here and stay, but they wouldn't leave the Legion because they were afraid they'd miss a phone call.
Oh.
She was
the couple whose son is a firefighter in New York. they wouldn't leave that building because they didn't want to miss a call about their son. Wow.
It was fantastic to her, and so was everybody else, but Deirdre was special. She was like a mother. That motherly love, she'd hold you, you know, and she was great.
Wow.
I talked to her, tried to take her mind off things, but I know I didn't do that because you can't take a mother's mind off her child.
Beulah Cooper tends to the O'Rourke's day and night. She walks Hannah to church to pray for Kevin and for his fellow firefighters.
The community, the love that they have, you could feel it every place around, you know. They keep telling you, keep your faith, he'll be fine, you'll find him, he'll find his way out. I says, if anybody can, Kevin will, you know.
This must have been quite a special experience. Like, as horrific as it is for them and everyone there, this also, in hindsight for them, and when it was happening, but looking like this must have just been like, what a magical experience. What a magical, amazing experience to come out of something so dark and so tragic.
No. So, it was in God's hands.
The quiet peace around Gander was shattered on September 11th when almost 7,000 airline passengers were forced to land here.
7,000. 7,000. Gander had 10,000 people, and they got 7,000 more, like overnight.
They came to be known as the Plain People, and they almost doubled the local population.
Plain people.
Many of them didn't know the fate of their loved ones. They were confused and anxious. But that anxiety was quickly replaced by gratitude. Gratitude for the exceptional acts of kindness and comfort offered by ordinary people.
Yes, yes. Absolutely.
When we were stranded here, we were very vulnerable, but everyone made us feel so loved and at home and comforted. Everybody just put everything on hold to take care of us.
It's also like I'm getting to look at Gander here with this sort of aerial coverage. It's also just like a beautiful community by the water. Like, what? Just a peaceful, lovely little town community. Honestly, what a great place of all the places to randomly get stranded in. Amazing people, amazing place, beautiful place. Man, of all the places, this is an amazing place to end up in.
Diane Kershke of Houston is traveling home alone after visiting her son's family in Huntington, England. In Gander, she has met another passenger from Continental Flight 5. His name is Nick Morrison, a button-up oil industry engineer from Worcester, England, on his way to Texas for business. Originally scheduled to fly on September 10th, his company had postponed his trip by one fateful day at the last minute.
Wow.
That's where I first saw Diane, which was over here.
Oh, he was gonna fly September 10th, but oh man, how terrifying would it have been to be flying on September 11th? Although it sounds like while you were flying, they weren't actually telling the passengers what was going on in the US on the ground. So you actually didn't even know why you were landing in Gander, Newfoundland, emergency landing. They explained that in part 1. That's right.
She was sat on an army cot all on her own. There were a bunch of other women over there. There was something in the order of 90 people here.
Wow.
Life, you're on a treadmill, you get up, you go to work, you come home, you get up, you go to work, you come home. And you perhaps don't have time to stop and examine where you are. And all of a sudden, you're plucked out of this everyday life for 4 days.
4 days. So was the whole Gander, operation 4 days long? We haven't gotten to that part yet. I am starting to wonder how long these thousands of people ended up staying in Gander, Newfoundland. But this is amazing. It sounds like in this little documentary, they've gotten some of the people who experienced this whole Gander experience and interviewed them. And they're kind of talking about it in hindsight.
And yes, you do get a chance to examine where you are and where you want to go.
U.S. airspace
nice
reopens
place.
on Thursday, September 13th. Over the next...
Okay. The airport opened on September 13th. Quicker than I actually would have thought. I don't remember much about when the airlines actually opened again. I'm surprised it was that soon. 13th, 2 days later. I'm actually surprised.
3 days, the Gander Airport once again becomes a swarm of activity.
Wow.
Around town, the schools and Legion halls begin to empty.
Okay. So I think that's actually a good place to stop here for now. With the airline and the airport finally opening up again. It sounds like this whole situation is kind of coming to a conclusion, and I think I'll leave that conclusion for part 3, where I'll finish this. But this was absolutely amazing. This story is incredible, emotional, and I'm so happy to be learning about this. I feel like this is really something I'm quite happy to highlight. And I hate that I didn't even know about this story. I hate that. So I'm glad to be learning about this. It's been amazing so far, and I've enjoyed it. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this so far as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on Operation Yellow Ribbon and Gander, Newfoundland, and helping during 9/11, this whole amazing story. Give me your thoughts. That'd be amazing. Or your experiences at the time, perhaps. That'd be amazing. And if you're interested in part 3, or just more videos like this in general, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.